Welcome to another episode of 5 for 5. I'm your host, Derek Brown. We're with today's guest, Valerie Cook, owner of Valerie Cook Designs in Houston, Texas. Valerie, thank you for taking time out of your day to join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tell us about Valerie Cook Designs.
Well, it's a small business, sole proprietorship, don't have anyone that helps me with what I do, and really about 20 years ago decided that I hated what I was doing and decided to go back to school. And 20 years later, still loving every minute of it and hope I do it for the rest of my life.
Our first question is, how do you stay organized?
After I got out of school the first time, kind of worked in the retail area in Miami and ended up, starting to work as administrative assistants, both as a personal administrative assistant in business, in offices. And, when you're working for people that want you to charter planes, plan safaris for a cast of thousands, parties for 500, if you're not organized, you don't have a job. And, when you're doing it not only for them on a personal basis, but also on a business basis, you've got a lot of balls up in the air. So consequently, when I did go back to school and started this business, I think the organization has helped me the most from what I learned of all those years, working in an office. Mm-hmm. It's the type of thing that when my desk gets full of papers because I'm going 90 to nothing, I will come in here on a Saturday or Sunday, if I'm not working on a Saturday, and just not touch a piece of paper without doing something with it. And it's not moving it to another stack. It's either paying the bill, it's filing it, it's saying, I don't need this anymore, tearing it up, and I start at the bottom of my inbox because consequently that's where everything starts. And I think it's really helped me. I think in probably almost all the artistic businesses and creative people that are out there, we think a bit differently, on the, if you will, wrong side of our brains. And so consequently, we're always creating, and all the paperwork and everything that makes you that much more successful kind of falls to the wayside. The key thing for you is to be organized. And there's just, if you aren't, it's writing everything down, and not because I'm older, but writing it down twice, because you go in 1,000 different directions, particularly if you're on more than one project. And if you're not organized, you're not doing your clients a service.
Next question. What talent would you most like to have?
A singing voice. I love music. And this is an awful thing to say because we live in Houston, but as a transplant from Boston, I am not a big country western music fan, although my husband from New Mexico is a huge one. But if you looked at the music I have on my iPad, I have everything from Saving Abel and Pink to Pavarotti. So, at night, if there's nothing on TV and my husband and I are kind of talked out from the day, I put in my little earbuds and start singing. And the dogs leave the room. My husband does the finger across the throat and goes, babe, you're singing. Stop it. If I ever came back in another life as something else, I would want to be a rock star.
What's your personal and or professional philosophy?
This is professional. It is, when I finish a project or even in the middle of a project, I want the clients that I'm working with to walk in their door and smile and feel at peace because it's their home. And I have found over the years in this industry that there are people that want to inflict their own personal design onto their clients, and I think it's a disservice. I think I don't live in that house. I will never let them make a mistake, hopefully, but at the end of the day, I may not like cabbage rose print fabric, and I wouldn't have it in my house. But if that's what they want in their fabulous country French house, they shall have it. I did some work for a builder a couple of years ago and his new wife, and was very flattered that he asked me, and the small project turned into a complete remodel of their home. And we started to pick paint colors, and I said we picked colors for 4 different colors for the entire house, 1 color for each area. And he asked me, he said, you know, do you not want any other colors? And I said, no, I think I'll be okay. And I don't mean by any means to sound cocky about this. I just felt very good about it after knowing them. And he called me after all the painting was done, and he said, that was amazing. And I said, really? And he said, yes. And when the furniture finally got in, they both called me and said, and his wife at the time was in a very stressful job in the hospital system. And they both called and said, we walk in every night and we smile and we sit down and we're at peace. And that's all I want.
What is the least selfish thing you do on a regular basis?
Be a good friend. For my entire life, friends have always been everything to me. I'm a single child, only child, and you know, my parents were older but still more young at heart than my friends' parents were. And the one thing that I learned was how special friends are and important they are in your life. And I think the biggest thing that I strive to do with the close friends that I have is staying in touch. We all go 90 to nothing. But the thing of it is that it's staying in touch. It is, yes, we may trade emails, we may trade voicemails, but it is, to me, it's second to my husband. It is like, it's the most important thing.
Who has given you the best advice about your business?
My husband, Cliff. He is my leveling force. I'll come home and just go, blah, 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 and then this, and then this, and he's just like, just sit down, you know, let's have a glass of wine, and let's talk about this. From a business standpoint, because he had owned his own business, he has given me some of the most amazing advice, and, you know, after 30 years of marriage and 36 being together, I still love him as much as I did the first day.
Had a great time with Valerie Cook, owner of Valerie Cook Designs. We thank her for sharing her experiences, personally and professionally. It was an absolute blast. Thanks again, Valerie. For more episodes of 5 for 5, find us online at 5for5.tv.